as I said, today's a teaching class, and what I want to talk about today is the second of the core four that we're finding in order to properly befriend ourselves and set up an excellent foundation and platform for the cultivation of mindfulness. And the second of the core four is finding your root. Now, this is a particular instance where what I'm going to teach you has been deeply influenced by Tai Chi Chuan. So many people come to meditation because they're very interested in relaxing. But we have to remember that we're trying to get a form of relaxation that's good for mindfulness, a form of relaxation that will actually more properly connect us in an adaptive manner to the world. So what I'm trying to do is get you to see the contrast between the normal relaxation that we all understood and to which we are, deeply habituated. This is the relaxation you do when you want to move towards falling asleep, right? You start to dull your mind, your body becomes insensitive, your awareness of the world decreases, your ability to monitor and manage your own mind decreases, and you pass into unconsciousness. And of course, this is tremendously valuable. And I'm not criticizing it in any way, but that's not what we want here. We don't want a relaxation that takes us into mindlessness. We want a relaxation that actually enhances and takes us deeper into mindfulness. So a good place to look for that is in the martial arts, especially things like Tai Chi Chuan, what are called the internal martial arts, because they really have spent a lot of time working on this kind of relaxation for mindfulness. So if you see like a martial artist, they'll often do something in the tradition I was taught. It was called sort of finding your root. I won't stand up, but they sink down and then their arms sink and you can see that they're kind of relaxing. Now, obviously what they're not trying to do there is to become unconscious because that would be extremely dangerous. What are they doing? Well, the relaxation that we're doing, I'm sort of modeling with my arms here. What they're doing is they're relaxing their arms because they're trying to get to a place where they're actually increasing the sensitivity in their arms and their hands. And they're also trying to find a place of stability because that combination of stability and sensitivity and the kind of position they're taking is multi-act for like transforming this. You don't fight with this posture, obviously, but this posture has you sort of multiply apt, really well set to make the adaptive changes rapidly that you need to make. So with rooting, what you're trying to do is relax till you find that point of sensitivity and stability. In the tradition, this is called, in the meditation tradition, this is called being as still as a mountain, but as alert as a warrior. And so the martial art metaphor that I'm using here is actually appropriate for this tradition. So I'm going to teach you how to find your root. Now, like before with finding your center, I will talk you through it. So don't start doing it right now. Let me describe it to you. So when I use certain phrases and terms, when I'm talking you through it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to ask you to do when we start it is bring your mind, your attention and your awareness to the top of your head. And then I'll say, wash your attention. And what do I mean by wash? I mean, don't jump your attention from here to your eyes, but wash your attention awareness to your eye area. Okay. And then when I get to your eye area, I'll say, I want you to pause and look. And what I mean by that is I want you to become aware of this area. Any tension, any tightness, any tingling, the sensations that are here, any sense of any imminent information that's trying to come into your awareness that we were normally backgrounding or ignoring because it's not, super salient to us. And so what we want to do, right, is we want to look at it. So notice the change when you're just seeing and I ask you to look. See, what happens when I ask you, right, to go from just seeing me or just seeing the situation to looking over there, right? You're getting that added attention that is getting you present and coupled to that area. So you're looking. You're not trying to do anything. You're not trying to make yourself feel better. There might be unpleasant sensations there. So be it. And so you're going to do looking. And then I'll say listening. And this is even more that focusing. Seeing is to looking, hearing is to listening. But what I'm trying to pick up on that metaphorically is like when you're at a party and there's lots of people talking, and you're listening to the person that's in front of you. So what you're doing is you're creating that special sensitivity channel for them. So you first look, and then you're listening. You're really opening yourself up, sensitizing yourself, giving a dedicated channel of awareness and attention to what's going on here. Now you're going to do loosening. And so the loosening here is when you try to relax the area. But this is a crucial point. You're relaxing not to make anything go away or make anything better. You're loosening because what you're trying to do is get some stability and sensitivity. You're loosening to enhance the listening. That's the kind of relaxation that we're pursuing here. And then I'll say, let it flow. And what I mean by that is let it fill your awareness. Let it sort of unfold, almost like a movie that's starting to unfold and roll, and let it fill your awareness. Again, you're not trying to make anything happen. And you're not trying to make, bad sensations go away. You're trying to be as deeply present as possible. You're trying to increase sensitivity and yet remain deeply stable within that sensitivity. So letting it flow. And then letting it go means you're not going to be attached to this. You're not going to get too enmeshed in it. Because then you're going to let your attention wash. You're going to let sort of this sensation of opening, melting, draining, letting your attention and awareness wash to your heart area. And then we'll repeat it. We'll do looking, listening, loosening, letting it flow, letting it go. Opening, melting, draining to the dantian, and then opening and repeating that whole process here, and then down to where you can feel where you're touching your pillow, touching your chair, right? And repeat it there at that point of contact. Because what you're trying to do, especially at that point of contact, is really enhance your self of groundedness, connectedness. When the Buddha achieved enlightenment, he touched the earth. Okay? So you're touching the earth, you're grounding. This is like the root of a tree. And then what you want to do is I'll ask you to imagine, and this is imagination. We use imagination. This is the sense of imagination, not as imaginary, but imaginal. We're using imagination to train perception. And we now have some very good problems. You're going to use imagination to enhance that sense of groundedness by imagining all of this pooled awareness and attention, everything that's sort of drained down like a liquid, sinking 3 feet below you, like the root of a tree, growing, right, seeking stability, seeking nourishment. I'll walk you through several points, doing a back line, taking you all the way down your back. And then we'll leave that. So we'll have a front root, a back root, and then we'll go through a center root. You'll have to imagine in the center of your head, right, chest, abdomen, point of contact. And there's a front root, a back root, and then a center root. And then they all become one root reaching into the earth. And then I'll ask you to make any micro adjustments necessary to get your root and your center to be fully integrated together. Your root is actually just a deep extension and development of your being centered. Right? So what we're going to do today is the following. There'll be silence for a bit. Everybody will close their eyes. There'll be silence. And I'll give people time to do the centering. Always center before your root. I'm teaching you these in an order for an explicit purpose. Okay? So find your center. Then I'll talk you through the rooting exercise. I'll talk you all the way through it. And then when the rooting exercise is done, we won't come out of the exercise. What I'll say is, savor what it is like to be deeply centered and rooted, and then begin to meditate. Follow your breath, the way I've taught you. So what's going to happen? One more time. There'll be silence. You'll be centering. It'll be a little bit jarring because I'll have to then start speaking to you. I'll try and do that as sort of gently as possible. I will talk you through the rooting exercise. Back center. Remember, looking, coming into a coupled contact, listening, really sensitizing yourself, loosening, relaxing, which is trying to find an increased sensitivity but a stability within it, letting it flow, letting it unfold and deeply talk to you, and then letting it go, not getting attached or immersed and enmeshed in it, letting your attention and awareness open, melt, drain, wash down to the next area where we stop. After I talk you through the first, the front, the second, the back, the third, the center, I will then say, now begin. After you savor your center and your root, begin to meditate. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. So again, about a couple minutes of silence to begin. We'll set the timer a little bit longer today. We'll set the timer for about 17 minutes. Let's begin. I'm going to briefly review what we did last time. Then we will sit together, and then we will have some times for some Q&A. So, of course, we know how to center now. And then last time we practiced the kind of relaxation we're cultivating in meditation, part of the core four. We're finding our root. We're finding relaxation that doesn't take us into unconsciousness and sleep. We're finding relaxation that gives us a sense of sensitivity, but also within that flowing sensitivity and stability. And so what we do is we move our attention to 4 locations: front, back, and center. Here's first location's eye area in the front, heart area, dantian area, contact area, back of the skull, between the shoulders, opposite solar plexus, contact area, center of the skull, center of the chest, center of the abdomen, center of the contact awareness with the area. You're listening, that kind of sensitization you do when you're listening at a party to a particular conversation. And then you're loosening for the sake of listening. You're relaxing, not to make things feel better or make things go away, but to open up your awareness. You're letting it flow, which means you let it fill, right, your introspective awareness. So you're trying to get this deep fusion between your interoceptive awareness and your introspective awareness. And then you let it go. You don't get enmeshed or attached to it. And then you do the opening and melting and draining down. You do that, as I said, for each one of the centers, front, back, and center. When you get to the base each time, you imagine it sinking into the earth 3 feet like the root of a tree, really enhancing that sense of groundedness and connectedness, the sense of increased stability and nourishment, so that you come eventually to be sitting, as the tradition says, as still as a mountain. That is the stability, but as alert as a warrior. That's the sensitivity. And I gave you some martial art ideas in order to make sense of that. So when we sit, first of all, take time, right, at your own pace now. Find your center, then find your root, all 3 lines. Remember, all 3 roots become one root. And when you're done, adjust your center and root so your root feels like an extension and deepening of your center. And then begin to follow your breath. All right, so let's prepare. Make sure you're comfortable, ready to go. We'll sit for 15 minutes, and then we will come out for questions and answers. Just a quick reminder, take some time, find your center front to back, find your center side to side and your head. Go to each one of the 4 centers, and front, center, and back, to find your root. Each place you're looking, you're making contact with any sense of tension, tightness, emotional tone. And then you're listening, you're really sensitizing yourself to it. Then you're loosening, you're relaxing to enhance the sensitivity while having a sense of stability. Letting it flow, which means you're trying to just let it fill your awareness, expand out so that there's nothing else in your mind. You're sort of diving as deeply into it as you possibly can, and then letting it go, not getting enmeshed or attached to it, and then opening and melting your draining your attention and awareness down. So we do that: face, heart, dantian, contact area in the front, back of the skull, between the shoulders, opposite the solar plexus, contact point in the back, center of the skull, center of the chest, center of the abdomen, center of the contact point. And in each time, sinking 3 feet into the earth like the root of a tree, it's giving us a sense of enhanced stability, a sense of enhanced connectedness and groundedness. All right, so we're going to set the timer for 15 minutes. Make sure you're comfortable and ready, and let's now begin.